Hi, this is Vince with Hyperio Imaging, and welcome to this little overview on getting started with the Matterport 3D system. Here you'll see what is called the dollhouse view. This shows all of the 3D model of this three-story structure. I can start the scan by just clicking where I want to, or clicking on this little man here in the bottom left corner. That will bring me just to the default starting point that we have. Or I can spin the scan around, I can zoom in and zoom out, and I can just click exactly where I want to go. And then I'll go into the scan at that point. Down here on the left, on the bottom, next we have the view floor plan view. So that'll take us to the floor plan view, and we can select which floor we would like to see of the floor plan view, or click all floors. And again, I can just go and click any spot that I'd like to go, and there I am in that spot on the scan. Next, you will see the measurement mode. If I have something I'd like to measure, I can go ahead and just click on this. If you're on an iPad, you'll end up touching the screen. If you're on a computer, you'll be using the mouse to navigate this. We just click a plus. Here, if I want to check the ceiling height, I'm going to touch the screen. If I'm still holding, I can kind of move this around and fine tune exactly where I want to place that point. And that's my first point. And let's say I want to get an idea of what the ceiling height is here. I can move that right to where I want. And now I have my measurement. I can click the green check mark if I'm done, and that measurement will stay there in the scan when I'm in measure mode. If I click the X in the top right corner here, I'm out of measure mode and that little dimension goes away. But if I click measure mode again, there is my dimension and that has popped up again. If I want to get rid of that dimension, I can just click and highlight it and click trash. This is something that can take a little getting used to. You want to make sure that you're on the right plane. If I'm doing the ceiling height, I wouldn't want to do something like this where I touch down here and then touch over here. Obviously, we can see that that is pulling that measurement at quite an angle. So if I wanted to do the ceiling height, I'm going to delete that one. I would want to start pretty close down here on this bottom plate and then try to hit the same spot or relatively same spot just above it so that I have a relatively straight dimension there. That's just a little diagonal, but you get the idea. Measuring in this mode will go to the closest inch. On the back end, there's more technical files that we use to create the as-built floor plans. Those can get much more precise, but in this kind of owner's portal here, this view will get you to the closest inch. This is very handy for being able to verify general openings. For example, if I couldn't remember if this sliding door here was a 6-foot opening or an 8-foot opening, this is very handy to be able to go in and pull some pretty close measurements to see and start doing my takeoffs or general planning. Here in the top right hand corner, there's a little settings menu, and here you can turn on a couple features. Snapping kind of gets you to the closest point. If you find that it's trying to start the point somewhere where you don't want it, you can just turn snapping off and you have a little bit more accuracy. Continuous lines you can see here is what we're looking at, where it will just build off of the next point. I usually have that turned off just so I can pick more specific places to pull my measurement. So for example, if I wanted to do here and there, and then pull the height, I can just touch and drag and kind of fine tune where I want that. And now I've got my measurement rounded up to the closest inch there. So that's how we use the measuring tool. That's something you can play with. I find it a little easier to do on a computer with a mouse rather than trying to click those points with your finger, but it is something that once you get the hang of it, is quite easy to do. Next, we'll exit the measure mode here. You'll see these various white circles. These are all circles that represent where a scan was taken. So we just move our scanner through the property in different increments and get these different scan points. You can click on the next scan, or you can jump ahead down the line and click on various scan points that you'd like to. I can even go over on this one and click all the way over into this other room. And there you can kind of see the various points to view. You can also pan up and down and zoom in and zoom out. On the iPad, I'm just doing this with my fingers, but on a computer, you'd be using the wheel on the mouse to do that zoom in and zoom out function. Down here on the right, bottom right corner, you'll see something that says share this space. If I click on that, I can click current location, and this will bring me to a list of options. I can email or copy that link or post that link in some notes. This is very cool because what this will allow is for me to send a link to someone else and they can open it up and they will be right at this exact point looking at exactly what I'm looking at. This is very handy for coordinating with other trades. For example, if I had an issue with, say, this rough-in box here, I could zoom right into it and I could go ahead and click share this space, share this location, and email that off to my electrician. And when he clicks that link, he will be looking at this exact view that you're looking at here. This is very handy to be able to coordinate when you're trying to relay to someone what area needs to be addressed. So that gives a lot of flexibility on being able to just go right to where you want and share that with someone else. So that's a very cool feature. Also in the bottom right, if you do happen to have virtual reality glasses, you can put those on and get an even more immersive view of what we're looking at here. I've known various architects that do this. They'll scan a space and then look at it in the 3D view, and they're able to really kind of look at the place with even more clarity. It's a very helpful tool. Also, this is just a great tool for having us scan, like at this stage where you can see all the rough-in openings before the drywall is closed in. Here's a good example here in this laundry room. So here's how we can really use this to our advantage. Now we have everything documented before the drywall goes in. We know exactly where our plumbing is. We know exactly where our electrical is. We can see where the electrical lines are run and how they are in the wall. This can be very vital when you get into the build and have to fix something or go ahead and put cabinetry in. If there was blocking here, we could see exactly where that blocking was and measure it. Here I've already pulled a measurement of where this plumbing line is in relation to the left-hand wall. This is something that can really save you a lot of headache, being able to document all of that and getting the crew up and running with using these Matterport scans to verify things before they need to start going into the walls. So it's a very, very useful tool, and why it's very helpful to scan a project in this stage. We can see exactly where the wires are and everything. We could even go in here and measure if we wanted to, how high up this wire is. We can just adjust this right there off the floor, and we can see exactly where that wire is after everything is closed in. So that's a piece of cool technology that's been very helpful for builders, and really encourage you to start grooving this into the workflow with your trades and take advantage of this tool. Also too, if something goes wrong down the road, you've got documented exactly how everything was. We can see everything had primer and everything on the joints. You can really just kind of document to show the work. So there you have it. That's our Matterport portal and the little overview. I hope you have fun using it. Please reach out if you have any questions or need any more in-depth training or troubleshooting on using this cool technology.